20 seconds.
Hey guys, welcome to Double Shot of Steelers. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This program is presented to you by FanDuel. We'll be joined shortly by Chris Halleck over at the Steelers headquarters. Your football team, your first place football team, is headed to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, who have the NFL's worst defense. If they don't have the worst defense than the Cowboys do, but one way or another, it's pretty bad. And their overall numbers, I was looking between those two teams for no particular reason, the Bengals and the Cowboys, and they're just so similar in that the Bengals are bad against the pass, they're bad against the run, but now throw into it that they might not have Trey Hendrickson, who is by far their top defensive player. He has a back injury that he sustained this past Sunday in their loss to the Packers. Now, he hasn't been ruled out, but yeah, Sunday to Thursday injuries, especially when it's the back, as you're going to see with the Steelers, more often than not, that player is just going to get that game off because you're risking something a lot worse by running them right back out there. And it's not like their games matter. I know they can't say that. The only team I think that's comfortable saying that their games don't matter are the Browns, but that's another issue entirely. We're going to talk today about my expectations, and it's not a prediction. It's not even necessarily a hope. It's an expectation for this offense. When I look at what they did against the Browns, and I've said this repeatedly and emphatically since Sunday, I was impressed. I was more impressed with the film view of it than I was even live. Part of what I think has people a little bit set back about it and maybe not appreciating what it actually was, because Cleveland might have the best defense in the league, is that the first 3 times down the field, they had to settle for field goals. And I can see that. That's a turnoff. Now, a lot of teams don't get down the field like that against the Browns. Isn't that true? Well, we'll just keep taking cracks at it until we get through. Second half comes along. Steelers, of course, get through. They get their couple of touchdowns. They end up with 23 entirely on offense points. What I'm looking for, again, not a prediction, an expectation. And I think this is modest. 1 touchdown. Give me 1 more touchdown. If the Browns are, right now, they're the 3rd ranked team in the NFL, even after that game, in total defense, 3rd. And the Bengals are 31. If the gap between those defenses is that large, you can reasonably expect your offense to come up with 1 more touchdown. They're starting to get more comfortable. They're all telling me that. Mason McCormick specifically on Sunday said, it's coming. I know everybody wanted it right away. We also wanted it right away. It finally came. We're good with that. We're progressing. He, of course, is referring to the offensive line when he says that. But it's the offense as a whole. It's the offense not having any takeaways from its defense to take advantage of excellent field position. Think about that too. The Steelers' 23 offensive points all came on drives that were started in their own territory. There were no gimme putts. They went out there and worked for every last one of those points. So you go into Cincinnati, you understand what they are. You understand, it's a divisional game. They're the team that's in 2nd place for what that's worth in the AFC North these days. But more than anything, I think you got to start flexing the wings a little bit. You got to start flying a little bit. Now, this team doesn't have a ton of that sort of thing. DK Metcalf is your guy that's going to be your game breaker. So I don't mean, putting up, 55 points on a bunch of gigantic splash plays or anything like that. Do what you did versus Cleveland and add one more touchdown. That's all. Not at all. Not remotely a big ask. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Chris Halleck.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Hey, there's Chris Halleck, everybody. What's going on over there on the south side? What's happening, Chris?
Oh, man, all kinds of stuff. I just put, so not to already start plugging the app, but I'm going to plug the app here.
All right with that, believe it or not.
Had a great conversation with Patrick Queen, Nick Herbig. Even asked a question about Terrell Austin today. Go read it on the app. It was a lot of fun to put it together. Patrick Queen's hitting another level, guys, and this team's starting to feel it.
Where might this app be found, Mr. Halleck, as long as you're at it?
It would be found for free on the Apple Store if you have an iPhone, and if you have Android, it's found in the Google Play Store. And like I said, the app is free. Now you're going to want to get the premium version, and I'll let DK give you the spiel about that maybe at the end of the show about how you can get the premium version. But all the content there is free. But it's a lot of fun to put this stuff together sometimes.
Yeah, we don't start covering the Steelers whenever the video player pops up. We're doing it all day long here. This is a fun time of year, Chris. This is the time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl, notice we don't giggle anymore when we say that. Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game is, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. I have not seen the line on Steelers versus Bengals for Thursday night. I know that the Steelers are going to be favored. The betting line always swings toward the quarterback, and heavily so, and rightly so. There's also a home team factor. All that
5.5 right now.
5.5, yeah. That might end up moving more toward the Pittsburgh side as we get closer to kickoff. We got some questions here we're going to take in a little bit here, Chris. But first, I want to get your thoughts on this offense. And every year, whenever a good team is getting better, you have that one game where everybody just kind of has fun. They put up a lot offensively, put up a lot of points, even in the Matt Canada years. There was always that game where you go, oh, look, they can do this. I don't want to, everybody gets mad whenever you sound like you're trashing the opponent in advance because they think we're the team or something and that we're taking them lightly. When in fact, Chris and I will not be suiting up. We'll be on the inactive list up in the press box. But they can get another touchdown out of this, can't they? One more than the Cleveland. Come on.
Oh yeah. I mean,
30 points. 30 points.
Can. I'll put it in a different way. It may not lead to 30 points, but if this team can rush for like 150 plus and just impose their will on the Bengals all game long, like every time they have the ball, it's just that defense, that Cincinnati defense is just getting beaten up. And it might only lead to 20, 24, 27 points, something like that. But if they outpossess them and they just punch them in the mouth over and over and over again, I almost feel like that's a more impressive win than putting up a bunch of points.
That's interesting.
Just because it's like this is a team that literally want to out physical and out. They want to be the bully on the field whenever they're playing. It doesn't matter if they're on offense or
very
defense. Comfortable
in that role. That's a great observation. Their personality the other day after the Cleveland win was very much that. You could just sense there was just this look at us kind of vibe to it. And that's all right. It's a division. You can carry that same mindset, that same mentality into another a division rival's stadium, regardless of what the makeup is. And by the way, I expect the Pittsburghers to make the 5-hour drive and take that place over. It's been a while. Cincinnati's done a pretty good job of protecting its own house, but come on, man. No Joe Burrow. No, they're missing a lot of stuff there. I think this could be a game where you could see Aaron Rodgers take, specifically Aaron, the kinds of throws that he was making that Arthur Smith, to his credit, brought back in with a vengeance into the playbook after Ireland. Said, all right, we got this squared away now. We got rid of all of our panic button measures that we were doing to some extent in Dublin. Now we're just going to go ahead. Let's put some up. And he did that. And Aaron did that. And he threw downfield. And DK Metcalf made plays. I could see more of that. I really could. I could see the Steelers saying, hey, we're not just going to line up here and see if we can wear you down. We also want to, we want to throw.
The only part of me that makes me a little, I think if this game were on a normal week, I could see that a little bit more. But with this being a shortened week, the playbook is going to be dumbed down a bit. You can't jam too much in a short week. And that's not just a Steelers thing or a Mike Tomlin thing. That's across the NFL. You can hear players and coaches talk about it. There's just not enough time to put together an elaborate game plan. It really has to be a little bit more simple, but very, very sound, in which you can execute it very well. And it really relies on the coaching staff, on this coaching staff out coaching the Bengals. And that's not, going to be easy. It's a new defensive coordinator there. It's Zach Taylor, who at times has had his way. Now, granted, when Joe Burrow was the quarterback, it's a little bit easier to do, but it's not like Joe Flacco doesn't have experience of playing against Mike Tomlin. He's only been doing it for his entire career. So it's going to be on the coaching staff to put together a game plan that pretty much outwits the Bengals game plan, just because you can't dig too deep into your bag of tricks when you're playing 4 days after your previous game.
No, but it's funny, though, how one of those plays can make such a difference.
Yeah.
I'm obviously talking about the opening snap from scrimmage against the Browns. They make a statement. Jim Schwartz sends the entire franchise up to the line of scrimmage. And the Steelers make their own statement because they have their big boys out there, too. Only their big boy can go deep. Pow. It felt to me like, even though all they got out of that was a kick, that kind of set the tone for this game. So we're not going to be limited. We're not going to be defined by you. We're going to be defined by what it is that we can do with our own weaponry, with our own schematics. And I like that a lot, because if you start getting into Jim Schwartz's game, you know what I'm saying? He's been there. He's very comfortable in that environment. He's gonna know how to slow you down if all you're doing is trying to beat him at the line. Had to soften him up, and they did soften him up, even though it was just one play. Am I overstating this, Chris?
No, I mean, shoot, like, how many times did we see just single coverage on DK Metcalf in that game? I mean, that's a bold move there.
Bold is one word for it.
Yeah, I'm also saying it's
dumb. On his touchdown?
Not even just on the touchdown. Well, so I'm actually gonna. Funny enough, so I'm doing a Chalk Talk that's coming out this evening. I'm gonna, as soon as I get home, I'm recording, and it's gonna go to YouTube straight away. And I'm actually gonna break that play down. But it's pretty much single coverage on the outside. There's no help over the top, and it's just funny how that just became part of what the Browns were going to do. And they really trusted Denzel Ward and newcomer Tyson Campbell, who had been there for a whole whopping couple cups of coffee before that game. That's almost putting a little bit too much. That's like same level of trust the Steelers have in going up against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, being like, we're going to line up. Now, I'm curious to see how it actually plays out.
Yeah.
But their mantra so far has been, we have guys who can cover your best guys. And the Browns had that, and it did not pay off because Metcalf had a couple of catches that were.
He's something special in a lot of different ways. Bob Cornelius says that he just read Chris's piece on the app. I love how he put app in all caps. Like he's starting to pick up on the message here. On Patrick Queen, good stuff. Queen has a quote in there where he's referring to speed and violence. I love him so much.
Oh, that's actually Austin talking about him.
Oh, it was speed and violence.
Yeah.
That's
Nick Herbig had a better quote that I can't say on here without us getting demonetized.
That's okay. I mean, no, it's not okay. Don't do it.
I'm not.
Okay, yeah. That's good. And we're going to I want to try to point out what we're talking about here is Pittsburgh offense versus Cincinnati defense. When I'm talking about this matchup, I am not pretending that there won't be a game here. We're just talking about one side of it. I believe, and we have seen plenty of this, that Joe Flacco is always going to give really everybody problems. He's Flacco for a reason. He's playing into his 60s for a reason. But when you're also talking about, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, these aren't people who were created by Joe Burrow. They are great players in their own right. They will make plays. And Flacco is so smart that even though he's only been there for a handful of days, it doesn't take much. He's going to say, wait, I get to throw to those guys? So there is going to be a threat that's posed by the Bengals. I believe it's going to be in that direction. So I just want to make sure that that's clear here. I'm not sitting here talking down on the on the opponents or whatever. I do believe that the Steelers should win this game. There's no reason not to.
They should, yes.
This is probably the least of all their opponents to date in their current circumstance.
Yeah.
That's another thing to throw in.
But I think when you look at, the recent trends and not just even overall, but even recent trends, the fact that Mike Tomlin's teams have not played well on these short week games. I'm not talking about just Thursday Night Football. I'm talking about games such as like whenever they played on Saturday in Baltimore last season and then 4 days later had to play the Chiefs on Christmas Day. I'm talking about these quick turnaround games, which you get one real practice to prepare. These type of games, Mike Tomlin's teams have not done well. It almost doesn't matter if they're playing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on Christmas or if they're playing Jameis Winston and the Browns. It just doesn't matter. That they're having a hard time with these games. So yeah, there's enough there from the Bengals. Yes, their defense is atrocious, and yes, their offensive line is bad, and yeah, they don't really have much of a running game to speak of. But there's still Joe Flacco who knows how to attack defenses. He's been playing against Mike Tomlin since his rookie year in 2008. And you have Jamar Chase, who makes a really great case for being the best receiver in football, and T. Higgins, who only makes Jamar Chase and himself better because Jamar Chase is there on the other side too. So there is more than enough firepower where if you go into a wonky type of game in which it just kind of gets out of hand a little bit, where Flacco and those two receivers can absolutely go off. It's very, very possible.
Justin Watson, our good friend, who's always sending some good commentary our way, points out, and it's come up a lot this week, that Tomlin's teams on a short week have been brutal. I would recommend that anybody who feels that that's going to be a prominent factor on Thursday also looks up Aaron Rodgers on Thursday nights. Let's just say it's the other way.
That's gonna be the variable that I wonder if it's gonna swing things.
I'll tell you what, if I had to pick between variables, a quarterback versus a head coach, I'll take the quarterback 100 times out of 100.
That's true.
This is a guy who's very comfortable in these settings. Aaron Rodgers is. To say the least here. Chris, this morning, Terrell Austin spoke here. I know you have a clip here from him. If you can set that up for us.
Yeah, so this is, not to keep hammering out the thing that I ended up writing about today, but this is Terrell Austin. I asked him about Patrick Queen, but I mainly asked about the difference he sees in PQ before or from last year with having to come in and be the green dot guy, be the primary communicator, learn the system, to what we're seeing this year, because it's definitely a difference.
Tia, what differences are you seeing in PQ's play from last year and learning the defense and learning how to communicate it to the way he's playing this year?
I think he's really, he is really coming along, man. He's been playing well. I think there's a comfort level now. There's a comfort level now in this defense. I think there's being the green dot. he and I are always talking and always doing those things, and he feels real comfortable about, doing the job and doing the task at hand. So he's really playing fast right now, and it really shows. I think, you watched last week and the week before. I mean, he just kind of jumps off the film at you in terms of his speed and violence, and we need that, but that's why we got him. And it's good to see that he's really, starting to feel comfortable and confident in that regard. He's always been a confident player, but you know how it is. Sometimes you get into a new system, it takes you a little while to really get your feet on the ground and going, but he's got it going right now.
It's been a joy, not just to watch Patrick Queen emerge into what a lot of us, I know myself included, believed that he would be in Pittsburgh. He certainly believed it. And to have him find that comfort level with the green dot, to have him take charge of that defense, to watch him out there. I was actually joking with him about this after the game. But he's out there in the fourth quarter. The Steelers are up 14 points, whatever the final score was. That's what they were up at that point. And somebody to his right was out of whack. I don't even remember who, and I don't need to call him out. But he's freaking on this dude. He's just like, he's jumping up and down to get the guy to be where the other guy moves like 3 feet. But that's when you're on. That's when you're on. When you're that intense, you're that into it, and you feel that vibe. A fun thing to share with everybody, and Chris, I'm sure you noticed this as well, but after the game, PQ wouldn't get out of his uniform. Do you see that? He's sitting there like 25 minutes after the game. He's still full uniform, everything but the helmet. Everything but the helmet. He's still walking around with all his tape on and everything. Like, he's still ready to play.
Which is hilarious, because whenever I went up to him, we had a short locker room on Monday, and I usually, on these short locker room things, I usually just kind of do stuff in passing, really quick conversations. I didn't even get the recorder out or anything like that. I would literally just talk to him. I was like, you played 82 snaps yesterday. He goes, 82? He didn't even know.
He didn't know they had that many, I'll bet.
82 snaps. And yeah, he was the last guy to get out of uniform in the locker room. This dude is playing with a different edge this year, that's for sure.
Well, let's I know you spent some time with PQ as well. Let's get that up here as well. What did he have to say?
That was pretty much just as soon as Terry Lawson said the speed and violence thing, I wanted to ask him about.
All right.
Ask him about that.
Here it comes.
TA said your speed and violence have popped off the film. Do you feel that it's your responsibility as the green dot guy, the primary guy in the middle, to set the tone for the rest of the defense to play that way?
Of course. I think that's the biggest thing. I know Denzel messes with me all the time. It's like, when six come to play, we all play good. So it's just I think it's just a defensive thing. I think when your linebacker plays good, it's loud, consistent, with communication, violent when it's played. I think that fires everybody up. And it don't got to be me, it could be any single guy. But I think we all go out there and play like we just did. It's going to be really hard to beat us.
One of the things that makes the green dot subject so interesting for me, and it has since the dawn of the green dot, is that there is a personality that has to accompany that role. I've always believed that. When we're talking about James Ferrier, sometimes to the more casual fan, not the kind that would put on a show like this in the middle of the day, but like the ones who would just tune in on Sundays, and you say, James Ferrier, great player. And they're like, what? Because you're not thinking, you're not identifying Ferrier with splash or, all pros and whatever. He's not Troy Polamalu or James Harrison. But what you have to have as that role, and Shazy had this as well, Ryan Shazier, you have to want to be the heartbeat of your defense. That's what I loved about both your question and his answer there, is that you can hear PQ saying, I had to feel all of that. When somebody said, what did he say? Coach Denzel was saying,
Denzel Martin,
Denzel Martin, he's saying, whenever you're going, the defense is going. He needs that. He is not an accessory. And that's what had him. If any of you were wondering, because I know there were a lot of people that were saying back when he was doing the most complaining, and he was doing it this season too, earlier this season too, because it frustrated the hell out of him, because he sees the entire thing as his responsibility, not just to call out the signal, but to set the actual tone. It needs to be, in his eyes, a Patrick Queen defense. Now, we can give credit wherever we want, here, there, and TJ Watt and Cam Hayward and Derrick Harmon's come out, and he has set, I believe he set a calming presence to the run defense in general. And you can give everybody their praise. You can do that with Jalen Ramsey. Everybody did that over this weekend. But when you're talking about what's actually making it go, what's the engine, what's the churn, it's PQ, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I think when you think about the best Steelers defenses, they usually have that guy in the middle who is just that he's professional, he's mature, but he's also really tough and just a really, really good player. And I mean, you think and thinking about inside linebackers, I just happened to go back. That's a really great comment, by the way. Bob says Queen chugged a beer with speed and violence at the Penn home opener.
He actually did.
He did. He actually told me how many beers he chugged, or I'll say chugged, but drank, and he said he had to stop because he had a football game to play.
He had a football game. He got his
going out
for
there
the hockey team. He pulled out the W at the arena. They beat the Islanders, and PQ did that too.
Yeah. But I mean, I when you think about some of these best linebackers, I do think about the Ryan Shazier guys, because he wasn't just a great player. He was also really smart. He took that responsibility of being that guy in the middle of the defense. James Farrior is obviously one of the greatest examples, if not the greatest example, of like this era of Steelers football, to be that guy in the middle. Because yes, those defenses can be taught. You could talk about Troy Polamalu, you could talk about James Harrison and those, all-time great players. But James Farrior was the heartbeat of that defense in every way possible, because everything comes from the middle of that defense. Everything gets communicated to the front. Everything gets communicated to the back end through that. It is literally the heartbeat of the defense. I don't think that's ever going to change. And that's why when you have that guy in the middle, that's why, and like Tara Lawson said, that's why they brought this guy in. Then you just bring him in to be this other great player who can provide splash every now and then. He's supposed to be this steady, consistent guy in the middle. And he's become that here in his second year, which, by the way, it took James Farrior to his second year to start becoming that guy.
It did, yeah. He, for anyone who doesn't remember or maybe doesn't even know about Farrior, he arrived here as a free agent. And he did not make some immediate gigantic splash. Nope. Eventually, Potsy, as everybody called him, was the guy who took care of business on the inside, and he was surrounded by, oh my goodness, he was surrounded by this epic talent, and yet they would all just sing about him and what his role. And of course, within that, remember that one really easy way to become popular with your teammates is to call out Dick LeBeau signals.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you sound awfully smart calling out what Dick LeBeau wants you to do. So that part's been cool too. Seeing these guys rally around PQ, seeing them rally. Let's just call it like it is. Since the Steelers have had a couple of games where I think TA himself has had good games.
Oh yeah, he's called a couple of really good games in a row.
And if we're going to call it one way, I say this all the time on this program. I put it in writing all the time. If you're going to call it one way, and you're going to say so and so should be fired and whatever else here, you can't have it. This isn't talk radio where you just want to shout out hot takes to the world and then just stick by them no matter what here. That's not what we're here for. We're here to observe as it happens. Now, is there a bigger picture? Sure there is. Is there maybe somebody who has a good game, whether it's a coach or a player 1 week, but overall has disappointed? Sure, there's context for everything. But I think, here's my hot take for the day on that cue.
All right.
I think these past couple of games have seen some of the best offensive/defensive coordinating that the Steelers have had in some time. And that is not to purposely leave out Mike Tomlin. Somebody's got to supervise that. Somebody's got to be involved in that, and he is. I'm saying that both of these games were very, very well coached. They knew their opponent. They knew their opponent's tendencies. They adjusted to their opponent, and they got it done. And it's okay to say that, even if you'd rather that Tomlin isn't the coach here in the future.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing, is that even in what we're seeing right now, and yes, it is something impressive to see this offense, to go back to the offensive side of the ball, to see the offense go up against Minnesota's defense and then Cleveland's defense. Both are good, but both play defense very different ways. Yes, very different ways, but still be able to execute and to create splash, create explosive plays. That is impressive in and of itself, but we are 5 games into the season. Yeah. We can talk about how great PQ is playing. And right now, if he continues at this pace, he is going to break James Ferrier's tackle record for the franchise in the season. Like, that's where, but we could talk about that for a 5-game sample size. But let's get to December and see where this team is. Let's get to the end of the season and see where this team is. Does this team continue to go on this trajectory? Because they still have to play Josh Allen and the Bills. I don't care that they have looked not so great of the past couple weeks. That's not going to be an easy game. They still have to play the Lions. They still have to play the Ravens twice, most likely with Lamar Jackson, a quarterback. They still have quite a bit on their schedule and quite a bit left to go before we can really start saying, because we could talk about a 5-game sample size, but it's not going to be remembered if they fall off a cliff again. Because all we'll remember, we don't remember what happened in 10-3 last year. All we remember is the falling off the cliff last year. So that's what will be remembered if they don't continue building off of this.
Matt Hyde gets my very early nomination for Lunatic of the Day here with this comment. It says, one thing I noticed was the Cleveland receivers were hearing footsteps across the middle. We could find specific plays to support that for you, Matt.
Yes.
They got punished for catches across the middle. You can just go right ahead and name names here. Deshaun Elliott was hitting people so hard that, according to Deshaun himself, you knew I was going to say this, he hit his dude with such force that the domino effect also took out Joey Porter Jr. Joey was bitter about this. The two of them were having a fun dialogue here with me the other day after this happened. Juan Thornhill was putting people in another universe. I didn't know Thornhill had that, but think about who he was playing.
Oh no, but he did that in the first preseason game against Jacksonville. He laid a hit on Brian Thomas, I think it was.
Yeah, I think this was different. His smile was a lot wider after this one. He was. I only very briefly. I didn't have much time with him, but very briefly, he was a very, very happy man after this. They were laying him out back there. Brandon Eccles had his hit back there. James Pierre had one. These guys are all part of this.
Yeah.
And so these guys got it done back there, and they're part of it. But then you know what it is? You know what they'll all say? That's because the big boys up front are getting us the time to line them up.
Yeah.
You know, they're not desperately chasing somebody down the field because somebody got scorched up front. They're making it happen. They're making it happen as a defense. A little bit of an exception I want to take here with this one here says Patrick Queen has turned into what Devin Bush was supposed to be. That one needs updated a little bit. Okay. I was rough. A lot of people were rough on Bush when he was here, and deservedly so. When he came back from his knee injury, he looked like he wanted nothing to do with the sport of football.
Yeah.
But if you noticed him at all on the other side Sunday, he was everywhere. He was what he was supposed to be, and he's been that quite a bit for Cleveland. To his credit, I love a story like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think it's because even if you look at Devin Bush, and Devin Bush is absolutely playing his best football right now for the Browns.
That is true.
But he's also not wearing the green dot. He's not that guy. Schlesinger is that guy. The rookie is that guy right now. Bush is almost just kind of freed up to just play. You know, and you know, again, props to him for doing that. He's playing at a very high level right now. But Queen, it's almost apples and oranges. Yes, it's the same position, but it's one thing for Peyton Wilson to play great. It's another thing for Patrick Queen to play great because Patrick Queen is also the quarterback of the defense. It is a little bit different. That guy in the middle is held to a higher standard. I think that's why it's such a shame of what happened to Ryan Shazier, because it wasn't just the fact that he was a great player. It was the fact that he was a great player that was the leader on that defense. And you saw the way that defense crumbled after that happened, because the entire defense, not just from a talent perspective, and from just the entire defense, just they lost everything. They lost their mojo. They lost everything. That was their leader out there. Yes, Cam Hayward was the most tenured guy, and TJ Watt was this exciting rookie. No, that was their guy in the middle. That was their quarterback. That guy matters a lot more than just what they provide as a player.
Remember this about the physicality, and that's being pointed out here, because I did say this at the time when Thornhill took out David Njoku, and Njoku went down hard. And Njoku does have an injury history. And I don't mean for, how did you put it in the press box, Chris? Like, guy who's built like a Greek statue, which he really is.
Yeah, seriously.
But when he goes down hard, and he stays down, meaning he's out of the game. And I thought that was going to happen there. But if you're a secondary, you can be accused of picking your spots. We joked about how the Cleveland defenders got out of Darnell's way a couple of times. They were just like, here you go, sir. That way to the end zone. Do not stop. Do not, collect your $200 or whatever the monopoly line is. Just go. Just don't hit us, please, sir. They went after big targets. They went after people. They weren't screwing around. This I thought was really, really impressive on the secondary's part here. I love this question. Can you talk about the impact that Derrick Harmon has had on the defensive line? I'll share with you first the reverse, and Chris can handle your actual question. Derrick Harmon was telling me after the game Sunday, because I made a remark, something to this effect. It wasn't a question or anything. It was just that I felt like he has had, as I referenced earlier, that calming effect on the run defense specifically, because he's going to hear about whenever he gets his splash. And you can tell from his emotions on the field that when he gets that sack, he's about that. He told us that when he was drafted, that he's about the big plays. He's about getting to the quarterback. He sees himself as an interior lineman who's going to get to the backfield and do damage. Fine. That's great. Wonderful trait to have, including the intangible of wanting it. It's another thing entirely to be the rookie who a month into his NFL career is just kind of doing this for your whole defense. All those big holes and all those people getting steamrollered up front. He comes in, he has this calming effect, but also he applies pressure through his very existence to Keanu Benton, to Y.A. Black to a certain degree. These guys know what level they have to be performing at just to switch off with him. Never mind supplanting him. They're not going to supplant him.
Yeah.
But he's just had, this kid has had such a positive impact on this defense that I don't think it can be overstated.
Oh, no, absolutely. And even TA talked about it today, too. And he said that the best way he put it was he is becoming the guy they drafted him to be. Now, I don't. You're not going to see that usually hit right away. Sure, it happens every now and then. And when it does happen in the NFL, of course, fans are going to look at, well, why can't our first round guy become that guy right away? Well, sometimes it happens right away. It just doesn't happen in the splashiest way possible. If splashiest is an actual word. But
yeah,
probably better.
It's a football show. We'll give it a pass.
It's in probably closer to the stouter category. But
I don't know about.
but at the same time, he is just playing such fundamentally sound football that he's kind of doing what he did at Oregon, just not finishing as often. But when that guy is coming in and he's just a handful, even in just a regular run defense rep, or a pass rush rep, that is then elevating everybody else, because it's not like they can just, we can just put one guy on this guy and he can be taken care of all day long. No, like you're forcing the offense, like in a pass rush, you're forcing the protection to, or, if a guard sees, hey, my center is about to lose this, or a guard sees my tackle is about to lose this or whatever, and they have to like switch off, then that opens up something else for somebody. And what if the Steelers are running a stunt from the other side, and then all of a sudden that stunt is wide open? It has an impact. And when you play fundamentally sound football, like I said yesterday, that's why Cam Hayward stresses so much. When all 11 guys do their job, a lot of the time we're going to make the play, just because that's the type of defense that this is. Now, it's a bit riskier for them to play that way, but if they become fundamentally sound and they just do their job, you will see this defense play at a much higher level. And what Harmon has done is he has played very fundamentally sound football, and that has then elevated everybody else too.
Rodney Hill says that the Steelers' running game has been good but not great. They need to get Caleb Johnson more involved, improve the dimension that the other backs don't have. Caleb had the one nice run, the first down where he picked up 9. He also had a handful of really uneventful carries, so I wouldn't take that one too far. I happen to believe what it is that he told me after the game, which is that you're going to need all 3. You're going to need everybody. Sunday to Thursday is part of it. Divisional alignment is part of it. I don't want to, and Jalen coming off an injury, Jalen Warren is part of it. Go ahead and get everybody involved. But out of the 3 guys, you're saying get Caleb more involved here. I'm gonna go to bat for the man in the middle here, because all Kenny Gainwell has done is take a city that had totally turned on him through 3 weeks of this season. He goes to Ireland and essentially at the last minute is told he's going to be the feature back. Okay, remember, there was no decision. Everybody acknowledged this in Dublin, Ireland, until that Sunday morning before we got to Croke Park.
Yep.
About Warren's status. All Gainwell does is go out there against a pretty good Minnesota defense and become the one thing that they couldn't have anticipated defending. He really did. In this past game, Gainwell, 6 catches?
6 catches, yeah.
6 catches.
On top of 6 carries, so 12 touches. Yeah.
Not one person's talking about those 6 catches. He had more catches than anybody else on the team, including Metcalf. Now, they weren't as impactful. But he has made a marked difference here. So I would hope that at some point the conversation goes from Jalen as all-pro, okay, to got to get the kid in there, to somewhere in the middle here, which is that you've got yourself a really high grade, I think, RB2 who can bring you a lot of different things. And it's entirely possible that the Steelers coaches were right and all of us, myself included, were wrong about Gainwell. Although you like Gainwell all along, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that. I mean, listen, he was an RB2 to Saquon Barkley last year, and
right.
That's not an.
How do you know? Yeah,
that's not an easy thing to do, especially when you know you're going to get limited touches. But I knew that he was going to be a versatile weapon. I knew that they were going to utilize him, and you knew that too. We saw it in training camp that they were going to use him in a number of different ways, and I don't think we've seen all the ways that they still plan to utilize him just yet. Again, we're 5 games into the season. We still got a long way to go. But I think I could be wrong here, but I think fans just get so obsessed with wanting to have that 1-star guy.
Yeah.
That
especially if they're young, because you want to picture that they're going to be the next da-da-da-da-da. And everybody was wrong. And
but why is the committee wrong? Why is the committee a bad thing? I mean, look at what the Lions are doing with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Why is that a bad thing? I mean, Gibbs is a great runner, and he could be great used as an actual feature back, like a workhorse back. But the Lions also help keep him fresh by putting Montgomery out there to be this thunder to Gibbs' lightning. Why is it a bad thing that Caleb Johnson might turn into being the thunder for Jalen Warren's lightning in a couple of years, or be that, I just, enjoy the fact that the Steelers have 3 capable running backs of being able to take a carry at any time and turn in a pretty good carry. Take solace in the fact that they have a strong rotation on their defensive line and an edge rusher. Like, these are great things to have for a team that in a sport that deals with more attrition possibly than any other sport in throughout all sports, really.
Yeah,
Hockey might be up there too, though.
No. They drop in football like nowhere else.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty much an injury per quarter. There's nothing else that's like it. Certainly not in North America. I wouldn't want to get into like dissecting rugby injuries and stuff, where they don't have the pads on, and
I can't even imagine.
They might have like 2 people dying per game or whatever over there. And Aussie rules football, the real He-Man stuff.
Yeah,
not this wussy stuff with the pads.
Why are you wearing pads and helmets?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And Mark Cunningham says, actually, we have 4 NFL capable running backs, in my opinion.
I mean, Trey Sermon's he's a possible guy if that's who he's talking about.
It has to be.
I can't.
I had to think about it too. Like, who's he talking about?
I mean, Trey Sermon's a nice guy, but I mean, yeah, I think he's still. I don't want him taking the carries that Caleb Johnson's going to get. I'll put it that way.
Then he says, if you count fake injuries, then it's soccer. That's actually good. There's like 7 or 8 people that die in every soccer match, but not so much around here. That's something that Chris, you can attest to that. You're a guy who watches a lot of European soccer.
Yeah.
I see the only soccer that I see on any kind of regular basis is the Riverhounds over here. And I tell you this, what's really cool, soccer in Pittsburgh, if you go down and you're rolling around and you're writhing and you're faking one of those injuries, you know what I'm going to say here. And if you're one of the Riverhounds, you will hear it from the fans. They hate that crap. This is Pittsburgh. We don't care. If you're playing for Pittsburgh, you don't do that stuff. They'll yell at their own guy to get up. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely, and there's definitely a difference between like like when you watch like club American soccer versus watching like the Premier League or La Liga or any of the other major European leagues for sure. But there are also for every time that happens, I'd say probably every like 3 or 4 times that happens, there is actually plays in which there's definitely contact where if you were to actually think about what that would feel like and the fact that they just get right up and keep going, those guys play really, really tough. Trust me, they do.
Yeah,
yes,
it's if you've ever had a shin injury and in my brief, in my own brief and terribly unimpressive athletic career, I would get whacked in the shins all the time. And once you've been whacked there, the bruising is real. Like, it lasts for years. So when somebody kicks you or hits you or whacks you with a stick or something in the shin, you want to die. Like, it is merciless pain. So yeah. Let's take a couple more today here. Danny Blaze says that the running backs were great. Reminds me of Chris Fuamatu Ma'afala, Amos in the bus, and Amos Zaraway in the bus. That's really going back, my brother. And you left out Tim Lester, the bus driver, which is not okay, who also had the best nickname in all of sports, even better than the bus. If you're the fullback for the bus and they call you the bus driver, you've won every nickname competition that there is in sports. What is raw dogging, Chris, and how is it that the Steelers will accomplish this extraordinary feat?
I'm not saying it. We cannot talk about this on YouTube. We will get demonetized.
Oh, geez. All right then. We're gonna skip right past that one.
Bad.
I had no idea.
It's bad.
This is another one here. This is the Stu, the bus driver, says nothing feels like a skateboard into the shin. I still have calcium deposits. Skateboarders, man, you guys, how? You're dealing with cement. People complain about the turf at Acrisure Stadium. You guys are doing it on cement.
I skateboarded in high school for a little
Did
bit.
you?
And yeah. I wasn't very good, and that's why I stopped, because I got tired of falling on concrete. It was not fun. I mean, I had fun doing it and trying, and the best I ever got, I think I landed one pop shove it. Like, that was the best I ever got. But I did get past just your typical ollie.
Oh no, William McDuffie apologizes. Never expected you to show that. Well, that's what I get for not having any clue what the hell he meant. But
It's bad.
All right then. That's okay. Let's take one more good football question here from Yin's guys. Let's see what we got here. Come on, one more good football one. Yeah, this one's all right. Richard says, "Hello, fellas. DK, I know the season has a long way to go. Has your opinion changed on Tomlin? Do you think Tomlin is more relaxed? Is it Rodgers?" My opinion. Listen, I said it earlier. We're not here to do hot takes and to get you to go, "Hey, did you hear what DK or what Chris had to say on the show today? Whoa, I can't believe they said that." If that's your objective going into the show, you're not being authentic. You're announcing in advance that you're not going to be authentic, that you're going just for a reaction. And maybe that's for somebody else. In fact, I'm sure it's for somebody else, multiple somebody else's. It's not for me. My opinion on Tomlin is it's not week to week. Like I said, there is a game. There is something to evaluate that week, but there's also the broader view. So if Tomlin all of a sudden the next week or the 2 weeks after that starts getting back into old habits, starts getting a little bit too big for his britches, kind of the way he behaved at the press conference on Monday, which is never a good sign from him, because that's when he starts like, "You guys had me counted out," and whatever. When he starts acting like that, that's not great. So has my opinion changed on Tomlin? My answer to that is he's been around for a long time. I feel comfortable talking about the game. I feel comfortable talking about his career. Do you think, to take Richard's second part there, Chris, do you think that Tomlin has become has had a more relaxed feel about him of late, or is that mostly an Aaron Rodgers thing?
I do see a little bit of a difference in Tomlin this year, but I think, and if you have our app and have the premium subscription, you get to interact with me on a day like today whenever I'm doing live cues on the site. And I got a question kind of in this regard. And I think, I've started to see some changes in Tomlin over the last couple of years, and it really started not at this past season, the end of the 24 season where he did his end of season press conference, but the season before that, where he openly lamented over Marquise Pouncey never winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, openly, that
was rare air, man.
Yeah. And since then, I've kind of seen him do different things and act in certain ways where you can tell it's wearing on him. You can tell it's wearing on him that not only have they not even sniffed a Super Bowl, but they haven't won a playoff game. Like they're not close and haven't been close in terms of what his standard is. And yes, he does have that. He talks about standard as a standard. He does hold himself to that high of a standard. And I think that kind of stuff is wearing on him, which is, I think, why until they are able to position themselves to draft their next long-term quarterback, that they've tried the Russell Wilson guys. They've tried the Aaron Rodgers guys to see if, okay, maybe a veteran can help get us to that stage while our defense plays at a level it's supposed to. Now, it didn't work out with Russ. Maybe it'll work out with Aaron. Maybe it will. And he's obviously been the way better quarterback over the course of his career. And even at this stage, Aaron Rodgers is playing high-quality football while Russell Wilson gets benched for Jackson Dart. So we know who the better quarterback is also right now. So maybe it'll work out. But, yes, I have seen a bit of a change in Mike Tomlin over the years. I don't know if it's this drastic change. He's still a very hard-headed, stubborn type. And he is kind of set in his ways. But it's also not the worst thing, because what he's done has also been very, very consistent over what is now his 19th season being a head coach, in which he's won a lot of football games.
There's a lot of exciting football ahead. If you want to make sure you're staying on top of it with me and Chris, the way to do that is to download the app. We mean this. This isn't like some standard, sponsorship, whatever thing. This is This is how we do business. This is how we support the families and stuff. Get the app. Download the app. That part of it is free. It's the DK Pittsburgh Sports app on Apple and Android. From there, email me, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. That's not sending you to Bangladesh or to some whatever. It's just coming right to me, okay? Ask for the discount on the premium level. I will hook you up with that discount. You will be very pleased with the product. You will stay with us for many years and experience bliss. And Chris and I will experience bliss in a couple of days in that awesome 5-hour drive where we get to find out, A, that hell is real, and that B, Cincinnati is not far behind it. Sorry. That's for you Route 71 experts in Ohio. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for being with us.